Shaquille O'Neal told the now 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic that he feels as if though he didn't deserve that honor this season, and that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander deserved the award for the 23-24 season. And boy, oh boy, did that set off a war between old heads. It was none other than Shannon Sharpe on his Nightcap podcast, kind of explaining why he believes Shaq is still so hung up on MVPs that Shai didn't win and that he didn't win in his career. He says Shaq could have had 5 MVPs. He sees a guy like Nikola Jokic that's not as dominant as him get 3 and 4 years. When you historically great, they talk about you as a great basketball player to go, and Shaq is never brought up. I think a part of him is envious of that. It's hard for me to put someone in the GOAT conversation with 1 MVP. If Shaq would have had my work ethic, he would have had 40,000 points. Shaq didn't like that. Shaq said, you took me sticking up for Shai as jealousy. Shows how smart you are and how you say anything to get clicks, so here's some clickbait for you. If you ain't ranked in the top 10 in your profession, then you can't speak on me. Don't forget, I know what you did to get where you at. Me jealous sounds like you jealous. I know you trying to stay relevant by gossiping on your podcast. We don't believe you. You need more people, and in case you forgot, 4 rings, 3 final MVPs. I'm top 50, top 75. Google me. And to be quite frank, all this new success you got, you still under me. You don't know my work ethic, but according to you, I work less than you, but I'm worth more than you. Make it make sense. I love you too. If you need help making money, it's better ways than gossiping. I'm too old for this. Love always, the most dominant big man who never took it serious. Remember, I don't know you. And in the words of Skip Bayless, I'm better than you. I got G14 classification. I have it, you don't. If you are like me and love flexing your NBA knowledge, you should head over to the best place to play fantasy sports. That's Underdog Fantasy. For me, I love the pick'em game. It's super simple to play too. All you got to do is go to the Underdog Fantasy website or app, pick whether a player will have a higher or lower stat line for that game, get all your picks right, and you can win up to 20 times your money. And when you sign up, if you use my code Ferro, your deposit will get doubled. You can't beat that. Again, head over to today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy's website or app, use my code Ferro, and your first deposit will get doubled. Do you want to see your favorite athlete live in action next time they're in your town? Or do you want to see your favorite artist performing in concert next time they're in a city near you? Head over to the SeatGeek website or app and use my code HoopsFerro for $20 off your first purchase. Make sure you subscribe to the It's Mr. Taliaferro YouTube channel, and hey, donate a super chat. Follow me on Facebook at It's Mr. Taliaferro, cop a supporter badge. The Underdog Fantasy promo code is Ferro. The SeatGeek promo code is HoopsFerro. And follow me on Twitter at It's Mr. Ferro. Well, Shannon Sharpe did read what Shaq said about him. And I'm going to just summarize quickly what Shannon responded to Shaq with. He pretty much said, I never said I was as good as Shaq. He took the grown man approach, something that Shaq is not going to do. Matter of fact, to the point where Shaq, which I'm not even going to play this because the cadence is ass. Shaq dropped a diss record on Shannon Sharpe. Ladies and gentlemen, the year is 2024. I'm going to read a little bit of what Shaq had to say to Shannon, just a little bit, and y'all will understand why I'm not playing this song. He said, "Oh no, Shannon Sharpe, you're way beneath me. Your whole demeanor is faker than a new rapper Beef B. You are soft. Before you get fly, you rather tweet me. I was in 3 different cards when you was in 3C. And by the way, I'm sure Shaq is telling the truth. Shaq been getting money for a very, very, very long time. I don't want to spend too much time on Shannon Sharpe and Shaq beefing. I will say this. Shaq's 52 years of age. Shaq is a very childish individual. I think he would admit that himself. Brother's got a big heart. But, I think what happens when you're single for so long, and I think so much of what Shaq, I'm a Lakers diehard. I think so much of what Shaq was known for was associated with being a star NBA player. I do think the brothers had a hard time finding what he needs to find in his world. And he's a very rich man, obviously. I just think he struggled with that. And I'm just somebody that can kind of see through a lot of that stuff. To be fair to Shaq, though, I've always told people, everybody be like, yo, Shannon Sharpe is going to get in a lot of trouble with his Club Shay Shay podcast. Well, really what's going to get him in a lot of drum is that Nightcap podcast. That's the one that's doing numbers daily with Chad Johnson and sometimes Gilbert Arenas. That's the one that's going to get him in a lot of mess. And, you know, Shannon is a peer of these people. There are a lot of us that have platforms that can say whatever we got to say, and Shaq's not going to respond to us. We're not Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is arguably the most, honestly, he's probably one of the more successful media personalities this year. People know who Shannon is. People watch Shannon. Shannon's a peer of Shaq's at this point in their lives. Shaq ain't going for that. It led to a whack diss song, which Shaq could have kept. He should have kept. But you understand it because a lot of times the athletes look at the other former athletes as like we supposed to be a part of a brotherhood. Now, in regards to Shaq saying Shai Gilgeous-Alexander deserved to be the MVP over Nikola Jokic, I don't know how many times I have to say the same darn thing. NBA MVP awards are not won during the season that you're in. You got to be great more times than not on a really good team. But the truth of the matter is MVPs are won off of previous season's narrative. Jokic won the championship last year, clearly the best player. He walked into this season with the lead because he's fresh off being the best player on the best team. It was going to take Shai everything to steal that award from Jokic. Personally, I don't think Shai was the MVP. I think Jokic should have won it 3 times in 4 years. Shai puts up crazy numbers, but if you actually watch the game, the numbers sometimes are hiding the production. With Jokic, that's never the case. I get it. He was technically the best player on the best team in the West, but if you actually watch the games, which I don't believe Shaq does, he's very rich and very famous, I think he would say Jokic was the MVP over Shai. That's what I believe. Again, MVPs in the NBA are won actually from the previous season's storyline. Russell Westbrook won the MVP. Kevin Durant leaves. The next season, Russ is by his lonesome and he goes out and averages a triple-double. A lot of that's just based off of the previous season's storyline. That's what the NBA has always been. To me, you don't need 3 or 4 MVPs in the regular season to be considered one of the greatest players of all time, because it's really what you do in the postseason. The playoffs in the NBA is a whole different stratosphere than the regular season. You know it. You know how serious guys take the regular season versus the postseason. You don't see James Harden averaging 35 in the playoffs. You don't see Damian Lillard making 8 threes a game in the playoffs. The playoffs is the real deal Holyfield in the NBA. And I do believe a guy like Shaq, who also got canceled out because he played with Kobe half the time with the MVP game, I do believe Shaq's greatness, he's in my top 6 players all time, by the way. I got Shaq higher on my list than most do. Shaq's my guy. I do believe Shaq's still one of the greatest ever, even though he didn't have regular season MVPs. And Steve Nash won 2 MVPs because Amari Stoudemire. That's why he won. You know, if we're being honest, Amari Stoudemire was nowhere near revered as Steve Nash, and Nash had the story of him being a great player, making everybody else around him look great. That's what that's about. Time Love Sports, your boy Never Take for Granted. What y'all think about Shaq and Shannon Sharpe?
I want to salute you, homie, you know, for building your own thing and doing your own thing.
Why build theirs when I believe I can build my own?
You've already done it, or I wouldn't be here.
I'm already the only elite sports and music journalist in the game today. My goal is simple: to be the best there's ever been. So please don't go. Make sure you subscribe and follow the journey. It truly means everything to me. I tell stories. I talk music. I cover sports. I am culture. I am Pharaoh.